All right, hey guys, my name is Nathan. I just want to give you a quick overview on my thoughts on the PodGo, the Helix, the Stomp XL, and then the Helix LT. I just happen to have all three of these models here. I've used all of them live, and I mess around with them quite a bit. You know, when I'm at home, you can see I've got some other pedals and like tube amps and stuff. That's what I really enjoy playing through when I'm at home. But in a live context and a lot of other contexts as well, these modelers are really great. So in my experience using three of them, or these three different ones, there's a few pros and cons to each. And instead of going on a long-winded 20-minute YouTube video comparing, you know, the little finite little details of them, I just want to give you a real broad overview of just a working man in music and kind of what each one has been like to use, some pros and cons. So I will start with the Helix LT because I actually went backwards, you know, in terms of when I bought these and how I really got to know each one. So the Helix, the LT, I think I've got it plugged in. So this is an overall awesome board. I would say all of these are pretty good. I mean, to cut right to the chase, and I'll tell you why. My favorite is the Helix, but it has a huge downside, which is just the fact that it's really big. And you know, if you're a guy who has a huge pedal board, I mean, you can see it's about the same size as my regular pedal board. I just don't travel with this and stuff. But like, if you travel and you fly to gigs and stuff, like this is really, I mean, it doesn't fit in a suitcase. It's heavy, and that's a real downside to it. But it is awesome. It does give you the most variety of sounds. So I was actually just making some stuff for my Stomp. But you've got these two lines here. Each are different DSP cards. So you can really load up a bunch of stuff in here. And if you've got some high DSP usage stuff, it gives you a lot of options. Whereas like the Stomp XL, that's really where it falls short. And to be honest with you, the PodGo falls even shorter in that area. So if you're looking for just overall sound and functionality and stuff, without a doubt, go with the Helix. It's no question, especially if just the size and weight isn't a deterrent. I would say the Helix's only downside is just the size and weight. That's it, plain and simple. It is the best in terms of everything else. So there's that. If that's kind of where you're at, if you think that's something you're in for, the size doesn't matter and stuff, then this is what you should go for. Now let me jump over to the PodGo because it's kind of the lowest end of the three in terms of price and in terms of sort of the build and stuff that you get. I don't have it plugged in right now, but this thing, this would be the best entry level. I would say it's a little more budget friendly, and you know, it gives you kind of what you need to get started. You get your amp, you get your plenty of overdrives, delays, reverbs. Like you can really play around with a lot of that kind of stuff, which, you know, for a beginner, I mean, that's so much. I remember starting out with just an amp and it didn't have reverb or anything, had a little distortion button on it. So could basically get like two sounds out of it. And that's the thing I learned on, and this thing will do, you know, infinitely more than that. And so it's good. It is much more limited than the Helix. It just doesn't have the power and the capability to get, you know, really detailed and granular with your tones, but it's still a great option. You know, the real advantage I see, if you wanted to compare it to the HX Stomp XL, is this foot switch, which is pretty obvious. But if you're somebody who likes using an expression pedal, sorry, I call it a foot switch, but if you like using an expression pedal and you just want something built in and just a ready to go little setup, it's not a bad option. Now, my most recent acquisition is the Stomp XL, and you know, I was a little conflicted about getting this because it doesn't have an expression. Expression pedal. I'm sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up here. But and I didn't want to deal with having to plug in an extra one and stuff. I just want like a simple fly rig. Like if I have to fly somewhere, just throw it in a little bag and be good to go and have everything together. So I don't have that, but I don't really use one that much. I just don't need it. So I was like, I can live without. And this is basically like a little sibling of the Helix. That they both use the HX edit. I mean, all three of these things all you pull from Line 6 sounds, but for some reason I get the worst tones out of this PodGo. Even though I try to set it as close to the Helix as possible, it just still sounds so much more stale and processed. And I can't tell you exactly why that is. But that has been my experience with it. And this HX Stomp really does sound exactly like the Helix. They are supposed to be the exact same thing, but you can just picture it. And this is a pretty good example because I've actually set this up for the Stomp. The Stomp only has this top line, right? So you don't have two, and I don't have anything down here right now. But you've got the 8. I actually have 7 on here, but you can have 8 blocks on the Stomp. So I'm here to tell you, you can do a lot with this thing, especially if you're looking to add some external pedals or expression pedal, all that kind of stuff. Because the reality is, this thing, I mean, simpler to me is better. The Helix, you can go so deep. There's pretty much, you can go as deep as you want to with it. There's going to be very few people that, feel limited by what that is capable of doing. They're out there, but very few players. I'm a guy, like, the more I fiddle with the Helix, the more I'm like, yeah, this is almost detracting from my guitar playing, because it's just like such a process in itself to learn how to get that detailed with your settings and your tones, and you can just go forever. And if that's your thing, awesome, man. Then go get a Helix and knock yourself out. But if you're just kind of looking for, like, let's get to the point, just a few great sounds that you can still use your snapshots and have your different, just go ahead and flip this on. You can have your snapshots, several different presets. I mean, this thing still just kills for playing live, because it does everything I need it to. So I would definitely recommend something like this. Yeah, so you can go through all your snapshots super easily. If you want to go to a different preset, the way I have mine set up, I mean, I got nothing there right now, but this is the real advantage of this over just the regular HX Stomp too, is just in a live setting, not having to reach down and turn any knobs. You can do everything with your feet because you got these arrow switches here. Yeah, and then this would be a Stomp mode. I only got one pedal on there right now, but anyways, I hope that helped a little bit. I didn't want to get too complicated here with this. If you're just kind of trying to figure out which one of these to get, man, I did a lot of research trying to figure out which one to get. And first, like I said, I got the Helix LT. Then I went and got a PodGo so I could travel with it better. And then I finally gone with the HX Stomp XL. So you can see the trend of just downsizing, because I think you realize as you go, like, less is more sometimes. Like, focus on your playing. This is what I'm applying to myself anyways. I'm really trying to focus on my playing as opposed to just getting lost in trying to search for these tones, because that thing right there, that HX Stomp, can do more tones than I even need it to by a long shot. And it's small, it's portable. I love it. You could throw it on a pedal board too if you wanted. And I mean, there's so many applications. All three are great products. Once again, in a nutshell, the best if you're not concerned about size, Helix LT, and there's a Helix model above it which does a little bit more, but whatever. Beginner, entry level, friendliest PodGo. It does it all. It's got the expression switch and stuff. It's just going to be a lot more limited in terms of really building complex presets. And then the HX Stomp is somewhere, I'd say somewhere in the middle, minus the expression pedal. And it's kind of the one that I've chosen for myself as my favorite. But anyways, I hope that helps. And yeah, if you're looking at trying to get a new tube amp, I'd recommend getting something cheaper than that 2-Rock, but it's a sweet amp. It's always fun to kind of compare a modeler with a tube amp. And now I'm getting off on a different subject, but anyways, I hope that was some help. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks.